Hey trader, Shane from GMT Futures and FX, welcome back. Just going to take you through one of our trades that's playing out at the moment, but there's been a couple of opportunities on the GMT Renko hybrid system, the V2 system, and I'll take you through one of those at the moment. We'll do a little bit of a recap on the overnight action. So the trade that we're looking at here is a sell off for 50 EMA following rejection at the nearest resistance level. So for us, for the trend trader and a lot of our strategies, this dynamic support resistance, which is our proprietary indicator, that works beautifully with these Renko bars, these custom Renko. And at the moment, I'm using a 0.05 with a 0.01 offset, and it's the system's playing these high probability setups really well. So we've got our momentum index, we have our trend index there for confirmation of an entry. We have the money flow index, which tells us whether the market's overbought or oversold. So at this point back here at 7:38 New York time, or 7:51, we just come out of an overbought area. So we were looking for a sell-off. And what we needed to see was basically we needed to see a retracement of price back to that 30 period moving average, and we didn't get anywhere near the 30 and the 50. We didn't get anywhere near the 200, so that's okay. And we needed to see a pivot rejection from that. So a pivot candle, which is our continuation trade, we needed to see that set up. So the pivot candle is where we get a move in the opposite direction to which the market's trending. You can see it's trending down quite clearly, and then we get that pivot candle, which is that first marker there. And that's once we close that candle, we can either take it on a close of that candle or a break of the low. So we have a couple of options for entry there, but we've taken it on a close of that candle, and you can see we're picking up some nice profit here. Now our trades are break even on this first trade, which is great because we're trailing. Now we do have our price channel tracking, and also we've got our 50 period moving average, but there's a number of ways we can trail this stop down. At the moment I'm using the 50 period as my trailing stop, and just to close above that and I'm out of the trade. We can take profit at the key level. We've got a bit of a double bottom. We had a bit of a potential double bottom there, but we've traded through that. So we'll see how price reacts around this key level. You can lock in profit obviously at the key level, as I mentioned before. This may be your second trade of the day. That was this is the second setup. I'll just take you through the first setup here now as well. Now here marks the start of the overnight session. The first trade of the day. Now our first trade of the day occurred here. Our first trade of the day occurred here at 6 o'clock. You can see the pivot candle sell. And what's happened here is we've got this. This is a great setup for us because you've got resistance setting up, which is our resistance line there. We have our 50 EMA, which is a rejection point there, and then we've got our Bollinger Bands, our MACD confirming a sell setup, and also our momentum and trend confirming as well. So that's all systems go for us on a sell there. So we're away, and you can see there that trade there worked beautifully because trailing the stop down. When we set these trades up, ideally we're going for 3-to-1 and or better. So the way we maximize our returns here is that we've got a fixed risk when we take the trade. So it's usually one tick above the high of the pivot candle or turn bar. So that's it there. You've got your pivot candle turn bar, which is there, and we're one tick above there, 45.75. So we've effectively got 12 points of risk here, 1 or 2 ticks depending on how much you allow for your risk. I'm typically running it ticks over. Then once we get into the trade, it's fairly much a trailing stop on the 50 EMA, except for when we get past our 3-to-1. Once we get past our 3-to-1 on our reward to risk, what we're doing is we're tightening our stop up for we have a 1 candle turn. So if we have a 1 candle turn in our trade, which is basically happens here, there's a 1 candle turn. If we break that high, then by 2 ticks, then we're going to get stopped out. So you can see here that if we have a look at this, data window here, our high of that candle there is 52. So the high of that candle there is 52. The high of the next candle is 53. So it's got to break by 2. It's got to break by 2 ticks. So the way we work our trailing stop is that we usually have it as 2 ticks above. Once we get that 3 to 1, we're not at 3 to 1 there, but it would be 2 ticks above the trailing stop. So you can see there's our trailing stop is 2 ticks above the high of the turn bar candle. So there's our first turn bar, so it's 2 ticks above that. Our high is 45.18, so our stop's going to be 45.20. So we're out at 45.20 there effectively. So we net out on that trade 44 ticks, and that gives us greater than 3 to 1 on our trade. So $440. So that effectively gives us a positive 3.6R. So 1R or one lot of risk is equal to $120. So negative 1R, and our trade nets out a positive 3.6R. So it's $440. So that's 3.6 times our risk. So that's how we're measuring our risk and reward on these trades. So you can see there, just a nice simple trade. It's a continuation trade. It's off a pivot candle turn, and that's what we're looking for. Obviously a very simple setup. It works really well, and we're still obviously got a trade here that we're looking to get an outcome from. But ultimately, with our trading strategy, the goal is to get our trades to break even as quickly as possible. We have a minimum move that we're looking for as far as profit, our 3 to 1, and once we get that 3 to 1, then we're going to tighten our stop up just to lock in profit on our trades. So that's a quick review of our Renko hybrid system. I'm going to do a couple more reviews over the coming days just to give you a look at some more setups. And yeah, it's just a great little strategy. It works really well, and it just does clean up price action beautifully. So thanks for your time. Have a fantastic trading day, and I'll catch you on the next update. Cheers.